Hi everyone, welcome back to another Beyblade Burst Rise Hypersphere unboxing, and today it's going to be a massive one. As you can see from what I've got in front of me here, we are going to be opening up and taking a look at the Vortex Climb battle set, and we'll start with the front of our packaging here, and you can see we get two bays with this set, and we'll go into them more once we go into the back of this box. And on the left, there's actually two ways you can use this stadium, one with that green ramp system, one without it. And we'll go to the side here, and what's it say? It says climb and attack, speed up the battle and drop into victory. So three different types of movements you can experience with this stadium. And let's go over to the other side. So small breakdown of what's in the packaging. So those two tops, two launchers, and that stadium. And this is as far back as my camera can extend, so that might give you an idea of just how big this set actually is. And we are to that back side, and we'll focus on our parts breakdown for those bays. I'll just quickly mention what's on the left here real quick. So there's that ramp on the side there, that blue ramp. Then we've got the brink plate, which is that green bit, battle ring, that circular bit there, battle axis, this smaller circular bit on that green piece, and then to those bays. So first off, Golden Judgment Dragon D5, and so interesting combo there, and a gold version of a bay, so that's pretty awesome. So we've got our right spinning dragon chip, and then our energy layer, the Judgment energy layer, which is a bounce type, and his forge disc is D16, the triple forge disc. So that's pretty nice. I haven't got one of those, and yeah, bringing back something old there with that. And then we've got our performance tip TH11. So that is the first Hypersphere bullet driver. So the first version of that Hypersphere bullet driver, and its stat is 3-4 run timer and 3-2 drop in rate. And over to our second base, so Prime Apocalypse A5. So nice that they kept the same name there from the Kiritomi version. And we've got our Apocalypse chip there, right spinning chip, and then the Prime energy layer and attack type, and then the forge disc D44, of that O forge disc. And then our performance tip for him is TH24, or the Hypersphere version of Ultimate Reboot. And then his stat is 1 for runtime, 5 for drop-in rate. And that'll be pretty much it for this giant packaging. And let's get it opened up. So that's everything out of the box, and this is what we get with our set. We've got an instruction sheet here, that green ramp section. We've got some clear barriers, and what was in that instruction set? There's actually some stickers there as well in that instruction set. I've got some legs and other bits to secure things. There's our two energy layers and chips, plus their forge discs and performance tips. And that's it for everything that we actually get. So I'm going to go away, get all of the stickers on, get this thing assembled, and we'll come back, yeah, once I've opened everything up and put it together. So there it is, our stadium all assembled now, and it looks pretty sweet. So new. Well, we'll change that over the course of a few uploads. Scratch all those new bits up eventually. And I do have these two last pieces left over, which secure that green section to the bottom, but I'm going to leave them off because I want to test it with and without that bit. And yeah, let's move that aside now and take a look at our bays. And here they are. So let's start things off with our Golden Judgment Dragon. Here we go, our Golden Judgment Dragon energy layer and chip. So if you are unfamiliar, this does not come with that rubber gimmick that the Takira Tomy version of Judgment Joker has, where these sections here would have been made out of rubber to increase grip on your opponent during impact. Just plastic, and then our weight system there is also plastic, not made out of metal, and non-removable because it's part of the molding, so no interchanging that between bays. But I like the colouring that we've got going here. A nice contrast between that metallic gold that they put on some sections and the gold on that molded plastic. And it does say it's a balanced type of energy layer, but really it does sit towards the attack side of the scale with just how hard it impacts an opponent. And usually you got like a 50-50 shot of bursting your opponent or yourself with those impacts. And I'm going to pop that chip out of the center there. So dragon chip looks really nice. And flip him over so you can grab that QR code for yourself. And we'll put that back in, and we'll move on to our forge disc. And triple is our forge disc for this combo. Now this is a fairly old one. It's called triple because of that triangle feature you can see on it, and it's an attack type of forge disc, so those corners of that triangle do stick out a little way from that circular center, and if you were to contact an opponent with them, you would definitely get a nice impact. But when using it with some of the newer bays, especially these Rise ones, they just overhang it so much that you will never see that happening. You can't attach a frame to it. There is no point on it where you can do that. It's not well balanced either because it's a bit heavy towards one end, and yeah, it's kind of on the light side. I think I weighed it up at around about 19 grams, so that's about average. Yeah, and that's it for that. Let's move on to our performance tip for this bay. Once again, we have the Hypersphere version of bullets. So this is the first Hypersphere version of this performance tip, and yeah, it came out obviously with Venom Devilos, and it's got a decent amount of stamina to it. So we've got that large semi-rounded tip on it, and you will get some stadium grip with it as well. Got these curved sections which contact the stadium nicely, combined with those two outer flat bits will give it some good movement, trying to bring it up onto that brink these Hypersphere stadiums have. And then that also gives us a little bit of life after death. So yeah, not a bad performance tip. And that'll be it for our parts. Let's put this thing together and have a feel of those slopes. I've gathered up all of my pieces here and put that forge disc on. Here we go. And alright, well, that's not the strongest of slopes, if I'm honest. Like a small bit of resistance getting on, and it slides along it with a average grip strength, I would say. So I don't know with that judgment energy layer there. Might be a bit of an issue, but anyway, that's to be seen once we test it out. And let's move on to our main bay, which I'm sure you've all been waiting for, Prime Apocalypse. So Prime Apocalypse A5, and let's check out our energy layer and chip. With it, if you are unfamiliar with Prime Apocalypse, it did have a gimmick, and we definitely do not get that with this Hasbro version, which by now you should probably expect to not see those gimmicks. It's just one of those things that Hasbro has done for this series, is remove those. So the gimmick used to be a infinite lock system, where if I just grab my Takiratomi version here to give you an example, where the disc there would actually not burst away from the bay. It could free spin all the way around, and the only way you could burst it is when that red showed up on the center there, and you hit that point at the same time. It was able to separate and you could get a burst from it, but the chances of that were ridiculously low. Then we don't get any metal, of course. So on the original, these outer parts here are metal, and is just plastic on our Hasbro one. But what we do get is the ability to remove the center chip now, which that is completely fixed on the TT one, and you can add a combination to it. So changing the slope strength with that. So if you've got a chip that's got some really decent slopes, you can add that to the prime layer, and yeah, just make it that much stronger. But I'm pretty sure these slopes are going to be halfway decent themselves. And then color differences, not very much at all. They did really well to add in just about everything. Only a couple of small details missing up the top there, with that little gold diamond and red on the inside of it. Just the tip here, that impact point, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, well, good job there, and we'll move that aside now, and I will take that center chip back out so you can grab that QR code. There we are. And yeah, last thing is the shape that we've got here. So as it said when I was reading out the back of the packaging, it is an attack type of energy layer, and with that very oval shape to it, yeah, you're going to hit your opponent pretty hard, and that's going to be interesting to see how that does go with the slope system. It definitely works well with the infinite lock system because yeah, you just can't basically burst yourself, but in this case we are able to do that. So yeah, interested to see how well those slopes do hold up against the shape of this energy layer. And that's it. Let's move on to that forge disc. And nothing new there in that department. So the O forge disc, and it is a decent disc, well bounced and built for stamina. Basically, it's got a good amount of weight to it for that reason. And yeah, can attach a frame to it. The original Prime Apocalypse did have the dagger frame, so probably a good choice if you were going to attach one. And move on to our performance tip lastly before we put this guy together, which is the Hypersphere version of Ultimate Reboot. And it's definitely got that look going on. I do have the original here so you can see the design similarities between the two. They've done a good job in including as many of those features as possible. The tip here, so it looks pretty rough and so not exactly flat. It's got a small curve to it, but we're going to see, I'd say, some decent movement from this. The surrounding features, of course, probably going to grip the stadium well when they come in contact with it. So probably going to be leaping up those edges pretty easily. And yeah, that's it for our performance tip. Pretty impressive in the way that they've done that. And let's, as I said, now get this thing assembled and have a feel of those slopes before we get that stadium out. Let's do this. Moment of truth. And just how strong are these slopes? So, well, that's a good start. Some decent resistance to initially get it on, and moving along with some nice grip strength as well. And it does have a decent angle to those slopes. It feels like it. So yeah, that's going to be not half bad at all. I'd say that will probably resist those impacts from the shape of that energy layer there pretty well. Okay, well, let's get that stadium out and we'll have a test fire and even a test battle. So I'll launch Prime Apocalypse first, and 3, 2, 1, let's rip. So wow, just missing each other there. And oh, our Golden Judgment Dragon takes out that first one with a survivor victory. Judgment's turn to go in first. Oh god, that is so violent. Wow. Prime Apocalypse just devastating Judgment then. Okay, well, that's definitely interesting. As I said, gonna have to get used to the way this stadium works and have a launch in that. I'm gonna take this plate out and we'll have a quick go without that attached. Now let's see how it performs now. And there we go. Some nice impacts. Sort of reminds you of the white Hypersphere Stadium with their movement. Got the lower section and the upper section of the stadium, although there is quite a bit more of an angle to that upper section. Let's go another round. Round number 2. Well, riding the rail a bit there was our Golden Judgment Dragon. That was interesting. Now let's go one more. Our last round before we finish things off. And wow, Prime swinging in for what was a pretty ridiculous strike then, and we've got a spin finish. Okay, well, that is going to be it for this unboxing. Was a lot of fun, actually. I recommend definitely pick one of these up for yourself. They make for some interesting movements, and yeah, just something completely different from the regular white Hypersphere Stadium. Yeah, I hope you liked the video, and until next time, enjoy the rest of your day.